Good evening, everyone. Sorry for delay as the classes of other class was going on, so I could not be online on time. Thank you very much for waiting. So without wasting our time, we'll start. But before that, okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Like Srishti, Neha, Marcy, Susmita, Binit, Ruth, Mandira, Subhadra, Yuvraj. So hope all of you are fine. Okay, good evening, good evening. So today we will see page number 7 and we are discussing about the advent of the Europeans into India. So page number 7, if we see, we have I think we had discussed yesterday up to the last one. So we'll see that is company's rule. Rukmini Chetri. Good evening, Rukmini. Who is Rukmini? Just write your name, Rukmini. So company's rule. Now company's rule means here we will talk about the East India Company's rule. How East India Company rule over India. Yesterday we came to know that the British rule was in India for total how many years? Do you remember? For how many years in total British rule over India? Just write it down. Let me see how many of you know. For how many years British rule over India? And Rukmini, kindly write your name. Who is Rukmini? My question is, for how many years the British ruled over India? (1757). No, for how many years? 1757 years. 1757 is wrong. It's not the right answer. You try to understand the question, what I am asking. For how many years? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. For how many years? You have to write that one. Yes, good evening, Molloy. Rukmini Chetri, thank you for writing your name. What is the total years? Write everyone you have to write. Then only we'll proceed ahead. Wow, yesterday I told you, just calculate from when to when. Neha, your answer is also that 1757. How many years? Beneath, I'm not asking from when to when. I'm asking you that, yes, for how many years. Now finally I got the correct answer, but the first correct answer was given by Neha and secondly it is given by Beneath. That is 190 years. And that 190 years was divided into two parts. First was from 1757 to 1857, 100 years, and second part from 1858 to 1947. So the first part is generally company's rule, because during that time India was under the British rule. That means East India Company's rule. And in second part, India went under the control of the direct control of British government. So let's see. Good evening, Sangeeta. So let's see the last paragraph, that is company's rule. We'll start now. That is second administration of Robert Clive, 1765 to 67. That means second time he became the viceroy. So now you see the British East India Company got the legal sanction as the ruling power during this period. So in this period, British East India Company got the power to rule over India. So now turn the page. Okay, from the top if we see. Okay, let me see the page number. What was the page number now? Sorry, a little bit. We have to wait here. I am not getting the papers. Okay, so company got the legal sanction as the ruling power during this period. And next it is written Mughal Emperor from there. No, let's see. Mughal Emperor Shah Alam signed the Treaty of Allahabad in 1765 with Robert Clive to give political authority over Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa. So, in the year, it is not given exactly, but Shah Alam term was from here is 1765, but 1759 to 1806. It was the time of Mughal Emperor Shah Alam. In 1765, a treaty was signed between Shah Alam and Robert Clive, and according to that treaty, Shah Alam had given the political right of Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa to Robert Clive. The emperor introduced dual government in Bengal 1765 by conferring upon the companies the right of diwani or collection of revenue and the responsibility of civil, criminal, and police administration when the Nawab of Bengal. So now you see in 1765 the emperor of Mughal was Shah Alam, and he introduced dual government. Dual government means in the same place two types of government will rule. Like first one, it is written emperor introduced dual government in Bengal in the year 1765 by conferring upon the company the right of diwani or collection of revenue and the responsibility of civil, criminal, and police administration when the Nawab of with the Nawab of Bengal. Okay, not it is when, it should be with. If you see the word, it should be with, not when. Okay, correct it. With, it should be police administration with. So that means in Bengal, who will rule now? Both English and Mughal. What will be the duties? The duty of British will be to collect the revenue and other whatever things will be there to control. All the other matters will be look after by Mughal Empire. But the collection of taxes from Bengal will especially be given to Robert Clive. Robert Clive especially, or we can say even British. Remember that in 1765, Mughal emperor introduced dual government. Dual means two, and dual government. First government was British, another was Mughal. The duty of British was to collect taxes from the people of Bengal, and other whatever issues, whatever matters will be there to look after that. The responsibility was given to Nawab of Bengal. By this provision, on one hand, the power of the company increased. So one side, what happened? By this provision on one hand, the power of the company increased twice, and on the other hand, the Nawab, subordinate to the emperor, reduced to the position only of a titular military administrator. So this dual government has given more power to the British, because now they got the chance, they got the opportunity to collect taxes from Bengal. But on the other hand, the Nawab became only what? Only the Nawab for namesake only, because the main thing, that is collecting of money, collecting of revenue, was given to the British. So we can say the power of British increased, and the power of Nawab, we can say it becomes only a titular. Titular means only for namesake. The succeeding governors of Robert Clive. So Robert Clive was governor. So succeeding governors of Robert Clive, that means after Robert Clive, whoever became the governors. So what happened? You see, the succeeding governors of Robert Clive also tried to impose their political authority over the Mughal rulers. So after Robert Clive, whoever came as governor, they also tried to impose, tried to suppress, or try to continue their political power over the Mughal rulers. Although Mughals were here, or Mughals were there during that time, but the British continued their political authority over Mughals. The East India Company became most powerful in India during the governorship of Warren Hastings. and the East India Company became the most powerful organization during the time of Governor Warren Hastings, that is 1774 to 85. He encouraged the Nawabs, subordinate to the Mughal emperor, to declare independence. So he even encouraged the Nawabs who were under the Mughal emperor. There are many Nawabs who were under the Mughal emperor. So uh, Warren Hastings had given support to such small Nawabs to declare independence. Hastings for the first time claimed himself to be equal status with the Mughal emperor. So when Warren Hastings came to India, he declared himself that I myself is equal to the emperor of Mughal. That means the power of Mughal emperor or power of me is equal to the power of Mughal emperor. Hastings for the first time claimed himself to be equal status with the Mughal emperor. Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras became the main administrative centers for the East India Company during the first period of company's rule after the Battle of Plassey. So after the Battle of Plassey, in the first phase of the British rule, that is the rule of East India Company, three main centers were there, like Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras. These three names are very much important. You just write it down. Okay, so Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras were three main centers, administrative centers. That means these were the three places from where they generally rule our India. So three places: Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras. So company became the main administrative centers for the East India Company during the first period of company's rule after the Battle of Plassey. After the Battle of Plassey means after 1757. The chief administrators of these centers were conferred the status of president, and the chief administrator, that means the main ruler. So suppose Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras, the head of Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras was generally known as president. The one president in was one presidency. Calcutta, the head of Calcutta was known as one president, and another president was there in Bombay who was the head of Bombay, and the third one was in Madras. The position was, or the status was given as the president. The administrative unit under the president came to be known as presidency, and this area which were under the president, under a particular president, that particular area was known as presidency. Suppose Calcutta, the head of Calcutta was known as president, and under that president whatever area comes, we call that area the presidency. So the administrative unit under the president came to be known as presidency. The British government, by the Regulating Act of 1773, named the Governor of Bengal as Governor General. Okay, so what happened? The British government, by passing the Regulating Act in 1773, so in the year 1773, the British government passed an act known as Regulating Act. According to that act, the Governor of Bengal, during that time, the Governor of Bengal, whoever was, his position was promoted. That means earlier he was the person who was known as Governor. Later, that position became what? Governor General, and made the governors of Bombay and Madras his subordinates. And what happened? Other two governors, earlier Bengal, Bombay, and Madras. Bengal, Bombay, and Madras. All these three had one governor. Each has one governor. But with the passage of Regulating Act in 1773, the British government promoted the position of governor of Bengal to Governor General, and it made the remaining two governor, the Governor of Bombay and the Governor of Madras, became the subordinate. Subordinate means earlier the Governor of Bengal, Bombay, and Madras were in equal position, but with the Regulating Act of 1773, the Governor of Bengal was promoted, while the Governor of Bombay and Madras were not promoted. So the Governor of Bengal became Governor General. On the other hand, the Governor of Bombay and the Governor of Madras remain as governor. As a result, these two governors of Bombay and Madras had to work under the Governor General of Bengal. Earlier, all of them were of the same position. A centralized administration was started throughout India by this system. And a centralized administration, that means from one place. Earlier three centers were there, now only from one center they will rule throughout the India. The Pitt's India Act, which was passed in 1784. Now the name of this act you have to remember, like Regulating Act was passed in 1773. On the other hand, Pitt's Act was passed in 1784. So the Pitt's India Act, which was passed in the year 1784, introduced two-tier administration in India. So Pitt's India Act, just before Pitt's India Act, the Regulating Act has introduced central government system. That means from center, from one place, from Bengal only, they will control entire India. But after some year, that means in 1784, new act was passed. Act means Kanun. So the new act was the Pitt's India Act, and according to this, once again it has introduced two type of government. Two tier means two type of government. The company ruled over India by this act through a separate committee of three directors, and on the other hand, it was run by the home government of Britain through the board of control. So the company ruled over India by this act. According to Pitt's India Act, it was given power to the East India Company to rule over India through a separate committee of three directors, and on the other hand, it was run by the home government of Britain through the board of control. So here it is said that by the Pitt's India Act, the power was given to the East India Company to rule, but secretly the government of England was also ruling here in India. The central administration of India was made stronger by the acts of 1833 and 1853 enacted by the British government. But central government once again became very strong by passing the act in 1833 and 1853. So here what we have to remember, it is not necessary to remember all. For the year, if you have to remember, then you should remember Regulating Act. You can underline that is 1773, and Pitt's India Act 1784. Sometimes question may ask, by which act the governor of Bengal was promoted to Governor General? Remember, by which act the governor of Bengal was promoted to Governor General? The answer will be Regulating Act of 1773. Only name will not be sufficient. Suppose if you write Regulating Act, you will not be good. You should write complete. That is Regulating Act of 1773. So shall we proceed ahead? Shall we go ahead? Those who have not understood, you can tell me. But here important thing what you have to remember, I have just told you that the two things you should remember from this paragraph, only the Pitt's India Act and the, yes, Regulating Act, these two only. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, very good. Susmita, Sangeeta, Malay. Okay, very good. Now let's turn the page then. Okay. So we'll see the results of the Sepoy Mutiny. Is it? What is the page number? Page number, please. Page 9. Page 9 is what? Just tell me what is the heading? Lord. What? Page 9, what is there? Page 9, just tell me that one. Beginning of the Sepoy Mutiny. Okay, just a minute.